I ended up taking a nap after lunch. I'll get to work, but let me just play some more. I want to play Genshin Impact too. No, and Path to Nowhere, I suddenly felt like continuing the main story and stuff. But,
And this, my father is the chief of Levy, Edgy. And this. Sometimes I just want to bury my head in my hands and scream. Ads that are not only ridiculous, but also totally misleading as to the actual contents of the game. Oh yeah, you're probably smart enough for the ads not to work on you, so good job, first off. But if you were drawn in by the promise of some simple logic puzzle game and actually downloaded the thing, what you would get would be a quality gaming experience. It would be quite a surprise. Here's the ad, here's the actual game. It's tile matching with town building elements. Absolutely nothing like what the ad promises. It'd be one thing if these obnoxious ads were just everywhere. Fine, I get it, chill for your game. But it is a different story with ads for a completely different product. Oh, wait, no, sorry, not a completely different product. Those mini games, as they call them, with their completely different art style and gameplay style from the rest of the other 99% of the game do happen. They do. They occasionally pop up as daily bad dreams that you have to make sense of in order to get, like, a couple extra gold or whatever.
yeah,
In
I
fact,
guess
one of
this
the
just
members of
displays
Team
back.
Theorist over here, Alyssa, actually plays Gardenscapes and Homescapes, and she can say firsthand that she's only got these things twice. Twice in the whole game. How long have you been playing this game, Alyssa?
Long enough to get to level 965.
There you have it. Nope, the only bad dream I need to make sense of today is how any of this is legal. Why do mobile game companies do this? Or maybe the better question, how are mobile game companies able to do this? Like, should this kind of misleading advertising be illegal? What is really going on here with these ads? And why isn't anybody doing anything to stop
Yeah, I got
it?
this.
Let's take a look at the landscape for the last couple years. Misleading mobile game ads come in a lot of forms. In its laziest form, it just straight up takes gameplay footage from an entirely different game to pass itself off as something that it's not.
Hey,
So,
nice, I
for
leveled
example,
up.
the game, new mobile game, you can do whatever you want. And yes, that is literally the name of the game. And if that right there doesn't tell you something about the creative bankruptcy of some of these companies, I don't know what does. To me, this one just reeks of them trying to optimize their game's title so they can show up at the top of search results for anyone who went to the App Store and typed new mobile games. I played it, and I gotta say, no, I could not do whatever I wanted, which was play a better game. Anyway, if you pay attention for more than 2 seconds to this game's trailer, you'll probably notice that, despite the fact that it's purporting to be an ad for a mobile game, the gameplay footage has a mouse cursor in it. That's because the footage was taken from a city builder game for the PC called Vanish, which, by the way, is an incredibly awesome way to spend time here cooking up the doors and long answers to all of the wild by creating a colony out in the wilderness. But apparently one of the things that you can do in new mobile game, you can do whatever you want, includes very obviously stealing the footage of one game to promote something completely different. Then there's the browser-based game Dragon Awaken, a title that somehow does the impossible and manages to be even more generic than new mobile game, you can do whatever you want. It's a game that used footage that looked like this, part of the game that looks more like this. And this isn't a simple case of a game using a cutscene or cinematic that's burned from natural gameplay. The footage here isn't part of the game, nor was it created by a marketing team affiliated with Dragon Awaken. It was straight up lifted from the trailer for a completely different product called Project Awakening, which, it should be said, has nothing to do with Dragon Awakening, despite the similarity in the title. So if you saw this ad and thought, man, I would love to play that game instead, take heart, as Psy Games is actually making that game set for release in. But again, another instance of a mobile game ad outright stealing the footage of another game to market itself. But then we get to the next tier, Galaxy Brain status. Rather than copying someone else's homework, they've taken to creating entirely new ads that don't resemble existing games, including the game that they're advertising. These are your mobile key ads, or still looking to take the suffering into a very obvious solution to their blight ads. And it's nothing like the game that they're tricking you with downloading. And the most ironic part of it is that the game in the ads is so simple to make. Why would you just make that into the game? Oh wait, someone finally did. It's called Hero Rescue, and it's filled with ads. Well, maybe we shouldn't be giving them too many points for originality, because all the mobile game companies seem to converge onto the same thing in design. A series of compartments separated by barriers, challenging you to unite a person with a pile of gold without getting burned to death by lava along the way. way, or the hundreds of variants with things like fish or kitties. And if you're wondering why these mobile game companies all converged on the same ad concept, well, it can actually be explained via biology. It's just evolution. Convergent evolution, to be more specific. Convergent evolution is how you'll have two animals from completely different parts of the animal kingdom who seem to evolve similar characteristics, like how bats, as mammals, split away from birds way back in the family tree before they evolved wings, and yet many generations later, those two different branches both evolved wings that operated much the exact same way. Now, in comparison, if you have mobile game advertisers all across the web throwing ideas against the wall to see what sticks, eventually they're going to converge on the few ideas that work for the game that peaks.
Oh god. It's the misleading ads.
Work well if you're engaging users. If you think that throw ideas against the wall to see what sticks sounds like the ineffective way to do marketing, well, this is not only a common technique in online marketing, it is pretty much the default practice at this point. It's commonly referred to as A/B testing or split testing. The idea is that instead of relying on the designer's intuitions about what would make an engaging ad, you take two very similar ads, maybe with slightly different wording or a slightly different color scheme that's
Wait, what?
by running both of them at the same time to see
Oh yeah, if you press the auto key, the normal attack will default to you using the... That's so stupid. Or maybe it automatically selects the element that the enemy is weak to. I don't remember. Small stuff, all A/B tested as well as we could with what rudimentary tools YouTube gives you. It's fun, it's science, and ultimately small little optimizations like that, when added together, go a long way to help your channel grow. But when you're talking about mobile game companies, it's not just two ads. We're talking on the scale of thousands.
You're giving characters like colors and blues, different messages above.
So you sent two identical ads with different colors?
What it is what you make for the ads. There's so much noise around it. What it's basically stuff.
Now, granted, that 60 Minutes interview was with a political consultant who worked on the 2016 presidential election, where both candidates' campaigns spent a combined $81 billion on Facebook ads to allow them to test a lot more in terms of volume. But the basic principle is the same. Much like evolution isn't a design process, but rather a series of random mutations gradually stumbling the principle works best, ads can be iterated on in much the same way. Only a lot faster is now we're doing it at the speed and scale of the internet. And let's be clear, this really is about what make people react. They're trying to engage people, capture your attention, get you to watch long enough so you might just click the button and install their app. And they're not just looking for any player. These companies are looking to put whales, the power players that are going to get them addicted to the game, the ones that will spend the most money inside of the game.
They're basically using it as targeted advertising for a specific type of player. They're power players, the people who spend the most time, spend the most money in in-app purchases. They just throw in whatever they know will appeal to that specific type of player.
And for whatever reason, this kind of animation and gameplay concept is just incredibly sticky for the power players. Creating a 5-second animation that will play on a Twitter ad is way cheaper than actually creating a full-on game to try and ride the wave of this popular trend. But this can't be legal, right? Advertising a completely different product than what you're selling. Whatever happened to truth in advertising? I mean, if I'm ever sponsored in any way, I have to declare that up, down, and sideways. And these companies are getting away with stealing footage or completely misrepresenting their games. How? Well, we want to know the answer to that question. Just ask the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, who you might also know as the governing body responsible for rules around disclosing sponsorships for influencers. According to the FTC website, quote, if you ever see or hear an advertisement, whether it's on the internet, radio, or television, or anywhere else, federal law says that ad must be truthful, not misleading. Alright, good so far. Now the bad news. Or enforcing these rules for misleading mobile game ads is probably not very high on their list. And from the same FTC info page, quote, the FTC looks especially closely at advertising claims that can affect consumers' health or their pocketbooks. Given that people who download a mobile game based on misleading ad aren't experiencing negative health outcomes, and in most cases aren't even spending any money to install this free app, the FTC likely has much bigger fish to fry. Say, for instance, products with false claims around preventing disease. A complaint saying, hey, I caught a highly contagious virus because this mask didn't comply with the filtration standards that the advertiser claimed. Probably gonna rank a lot higher than, hey, I spent 5 minutes installing this mobile app and it wasn't like it turned out, was not in fact a virus scanner, but actually a ringtone bundle that billed users for $9.99 a month. And Jesta, the company selling those ringtones, was required to give automatic refunds to people who were reported by the false advertising. Another case where a site or app got sued for fake or misleading advertising, Match.com became a target for FTC scrutiny based on the fact that they would have fake profiles on the site that would message users that could only be read if you paid for a subscription. Humanity is just the worst to itself. If you look through the complaints about misleading ads that have led to actual FTC action, they all have one thing in common: the fact that these misleading ads get people to spend money on something that was either a fake product or not what it could be. However, these misleading mobile game ads seem to fall short of that. It's true, mobile games do have in-app purchases, but odds are that by the time you start paying money for imaginary currency in that Match 3 game, you're already past the point of realizing, hey, wait a minute, this isn't the game that I saw in the ads. It's much more difficult for people to claim that when they bought gems or silver in the game after playing it for 30 minutes that they didn't know what they were signing up for. They did, and they spent money anyway. FTC ain't gonna care. If it feels like mobile games are getting away with blatantly false advertising more than any other kind of product on the market, yeah, you're not wrong. It's probably because they operate on a business model that kind of protects them from these sorts of claims. It's hard for people to claim that they were actually being faked out at the time they hit the purchase button. The misleading ad isn't trying to get you to pay money, it's simply trying to get you to install a free app, which will then go on to try and sell you in-game items. But you've spent some time in the app to learn what kind of a game it is that you really just downloaded. There's an old saying about how it's not a game for the wrong. And while that is certainly not true, there is a lot of truth to the game that crime that doesn't get persecuted. Might as well not be a crime. After all, you're blatantly breaking the law and nobody's out there trying to stop or punish you. Right to stop. In short, are these misleading mobile game ads breaking the law? Is probably the wrong question to be asking. Sure, yes, these ads are misleading and not true in the slightest, putting them likely in strong violation to FTC policy. But until legal action starts, expect to see these ads and then try to open up an ad-supported app. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. So as a quick addendum here, late in 2020, Homescapes and Gardenscapes, both the games most synonymous with that hold-the-key style of advertisement, they got banned in the UK for exactly what we're talking about today, misleading ads. Now the ads have to include disclaimers like not all images represent actual gameplay. So, not a big change, but baby steps, I guess. It's a crazy world out there, friends. Be kind to each other, don't lie, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you all.
Okay. Doing this always reminds me just how terrible of a YouTuber I actually am. Why can't I ultimate cannon? Aim. Oh, it's only one use, right. You fool!
After a short articles I allowed it to public people. Hedge fund.
draw the attention of the city guard that you've been hiding from. Good job, dumbass. Hey, Ultimate, New Year's already here, ready to start the new year with a D&D.
My.
Are you saying if you made the New Year's resolutions with more important, you have a fan base that can grow with your subscription? I love this. Anyway, welcome to another D&D memes. How are you guys doing? Yeah, do you guys dare subscribing to the and subscribe to this channel? Takes you and you know.
Okay, that was
and yeah, with that being said,
that was needlessly flashy for the amount of damage it actually dealt.
Normal brain, you get brain damage and, you know, you're dead. But with a superior brain that's small, the brain can dodge, so you're alive. So it's, yeah, that's the better brain. Because, you know, having lower intelligence also means your brain is smaller. So, I mean, yeah, that's obviously improvise, adapt, overcome the players. What the fuck? Yeah. I didn't have a Kraken meaning. Okay, I think this needs to be censored, by the way. I don't know if this can be shown in video. Bard subclass, Troll, Genie.
Have one wish and you can't ask for wishes.
Bard. I wish for one wish.
I just said...
You said wishes as in plural. I'm asking for one.
Wow, okay, so we're back to where we started. Have one wish.
I wish for one wish.
I hate you.
The satanic panic was... Enjoyed the D&D Renaissance. It wasn't always like this. When I was a teenager, everyone was sneaking out to go party. Meanwhile, I was sneaking out to play D&D. My mom once found a D10 in my pocket, and she was like, "What's this?" Like it was a joint. Nah, I mean D&D is probably worse than drugs, to be honest. So yeah, she was right with that. Creation bards are the best necromancers. Run a grueling campaign with many PC and beloved NPCs deaths. Weird creation bard steals parts of dead friends and is ridiculed. Somehow, Creation Bard manages to live to level 18, taking true resurrection with magical secrets. She uses performance of creation to make a 20,000 gold diamond, casts true resurrection, takes a long rest, and repeats until everyone she loved is returned back to life. All of the old unresolved character arcs are back on the table, and months
Look
of
at
once
she
wasted
fighting.
plans are made
Always
viable
with that
again,
smile on her
extending the
face.
campaign and creating tremendously satisfying payoffs for the whole party. Could have gained the ability to see the code of the Matrix, but no. You boost your passive perception to 30, and now pretty much nothing can sneak up on you. DM says that you start hearing strange sourceless whispers and seeing shadows moving in the corner of your eye, but when you look directly, they are gone. I don't know what this is, but this does not sound good.
I thought I proved
That'd be
myself
just a
to you.
bit
Why did
terrifying
you
to
doubt
have
me?
happened to you. It's okay. He's a good DM, but I find that timing is hilarious. We are surrounded by overwhelming numbers. We try to break encirclement, but to get DPK. DM concludes the session with us not being dead, but taken prisoners. Steam said that the DM was playing anti-prison after we concluded the session. Well, it seems like the DM has some big plans for you for next session, I guess. This game is so much fun. I'm gonna play a fight. I'm making a rogue thief. Don't you know the summon spells literally make
Am I actually done with the game?
I'm going to dual wield daggers and use a short bow. Why aren't you taking crossbow expert? It's literally a requirement. Wow, 22 sneak attack damage. Nice. Quit having fun. Yeah, I know, the worst possible thing you can do is just having fun. God, how dare you do that? How dare you have fun? Please avoid the trap spells. I cast Fly and fly 60 feet straight up. Okay, you take an opportunity attack from the giant and take 15 damage. I cast Hellish Rebuke and deal 16 damage. Okay, that was your 2 spells. Why is Warlock so bad? I am barely surviving. Cleric, also having armor, and Sorcerer, only having magic. Okay. Discuss the horrors of your research field with your GM at your own risk. The secret villain alchemist discussing breakthroughs in her research in very specific language. Most of the party, calm, and then the 7th int barbarian played by an IRL geneticist. Oh god, screaming on the inside. He does not look happy. He does not look happy on the inside. He looks happy from outside. The banded bugbear's longsword does 2d10 damage, so it must be great. I need to get it. I wrestle the longsword from its grip, and I use it to attack the bugbear. DM. The longsword is too rusted to be useful, and breaks on him. I'm sorry, what? Okay, no, that's some BS. That is some actual next level BS right there. No, my liver is on fire. Inside you there are two wolves. One is a fire elemental, and the other is also a fire elemental. You are taking 2d10 fire damage per turn from being in contact with them every round. NPCs unite. The Dungeons and Dragons movie should kill off a character only to have the party meet a new character played by the same actor in the next scene. To be completely accurate, all NPCs with speaking roles should be played by the exact same actor wearing a variety of different hats. The group never comments on this. Druids being restricted from wearing metal armor is just weird. The druid realizing they can ask the cow who the secret murderer is, and then the druid when the cow starts asking about their leather armor. I will break a campaign for once. Plebs. Undead Genghis Khan in Faerun? What's happening? Are we going D&D metaverse? You must have something complex planned if he's introducing this. DM earlier that day. Oh my god, Mongol! I have to put this in there. I'm gonna be honest, just from this I think I like this DM. No exploits for you. I pick up the monsters.
Would this be worth it?
I go to the city and sell them. Player's Handbook, page 144. And that says, weapons and armor used by monsters are rarely in good enough condition to sell. Okay. Well,
No, it wasn't.
That's odd. I mean, even for a low price, I don't know. Yo ho ho. D&D CEO thinks hobbies under-monetized, quote-unquote, compared to video games. The world has truly entered a great pirate era. Yeah, there are so many One Piece jokes recently on the subreddit. A bit unexpected. A bit of an unexpected crossover episode, but still an interesting one, I guess. The Manhattan Project was not done by a smart rich kid in a garage workshop. You wanna create a nuke? You'll need 2 billion gold and 130,000 skilled hirelings. Yes, all according to plan. Are you going to make it to the game on Saturday night? Me, with no girlfriend or social life whatsoever. Yes, cry. Jesus Christ. DM, who wants my life to stay that way? Yeah, you better do come to the session. Earth King has invited you to Lake Laogai. The DM says the next location we're going to will be based on one of their favorite shows. When we finally get there, it's revealed that it's a giant city surrounded by an impenetrable wall. The first NPC we meet greets us with a huge smile. I'm Judy. I'll be your host as long as you're in our wonderful city. The hardest choices require the strongest wills. Goblin girlfriend or Goliath girlfriend. Impossible choice for some people apparently, Jesus, okay. Clown-to-clown communication. Me, the DM. Okay, so she runs out the door, covering about 100 feet. You can tell that you can't catch up. I have a question, says the barbarian. No, you cannot throw your greatsword. I no longer have a question. Clown-to-clown conversation. We won't make it past here. That's a promise. My team NPC wanting to use his custom features. Exhaustion point. Exhaustion point. Exhaustion point. Guess what? 2 more exhaustion points. Jesus Christ. It wrote itself. Yeah. After a short verbal spar, it's clear the druid is best. Fine. And I ain't even worried. I loudly tried to publicly intimidate. Natural one. You draw the attention of the city guard that you've been
hiding.
Good job, dumbass. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was not expecting to see a D&D game with this, but okay. You have to spend $1,000 and study a full syllabus to play D&D. If you don't, you're playing it wrong. Some people don't want to read 15 textbook-sized manuals to play a fun dice game. r/D&D absolutely getting mad at that. Absolutely getting triggered as all by that. The Lich casts silence. No! How are our characters supposed to strategize or cast spells? Okay. I love interparty. Player 1 wants to play a fighter who's on a vendetta against a shadowy organization of my choice that killed his friends. Player 2 wants to play a cleric who's secretly an ex-cult member who quit after they were forced to do questionable things in their god's name. Me, the DM. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Why are there only default and variant droids? If we are the most numerous and short-lived, then where are all the sub-races? Do half-races count? Humans are an infestation? You elves literally have 13 subraces in multiple planes. Seriously,
Whoa.
you have options. I don't want to lose my powers for not
Whoa.
following my god's teachings. Then why did you worship that god? Reasonable reaction, honestly. You guys know there are games with like a tenth of that, right? But I don't want to read rules. Then why are you playing a game with 1,000 pages of core rulebooks? Source images, edits, Esquans Eternius Iramen. The enemy is a tall man with long silver hair. The battle music starts chanting with that. He wields a giant curved sword that's longer than his height. A single black wing bursts from his right shoulder. When you get a message from your DM a week before the session. Hey, did you make a second character? Why are you asking? And I'm panicking, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's a very ominous question to be asking. That early on at least. Jesus, I mean at any point, to be fair. I hate the Stormwind fallacy. Players who intentionally play weak characters because they think it makes them better players. Can't you do something about your superiority complex? Min-maxers who roleplay overconfidence, imposter syndrome, and performance anxiety. But I am superior. Literally resistant to every form of damage while raging. Why do all of the hardest monsters target me? My brother in Christ. You took an Emerald Dragonborn Bear-Totem Barbarian. What did you expect? The gang accidentally frees an ancient one. When you're exploring a dungeon and discover the traps are massive and facing the wrong direction. That sounds like a horrible problem to have to deal with. Jesus, man. There's no one right way to play the game. There are, however, wrong ways. My players are very attached to their characters. Killing one off would win the game for them. It would also screw things up for me, and the plans I have for character arcs and stuff. That's why I don't bother asking my players. Acceptable. All of my players agreed that this would be foremost an action game, where death is a very real and possible consequence. They all have multiple character concepts ready to go in case the worst happens. Acceptable. And then, the thief, Blackleaf, did not find the poison trap, and I declare her dead. No, not Blackleaf. No, I'm going to die. Don't make me quit the game, please don't. Somebody save me, you can't do this. Mercy, get out of here, you're dead. You don't exist anymore. That one is unacceptable. As a DM, I love high AC characters. They're perfect to showcase a particularly strong enemy play. My AC is not that high, but their AC. Where my strength build Valor bards at? Seducing with charisma? Nah, that's enough. Seducing with strength. That's and you know, I don't wanna No, I can actually see how you would do that. Yeah, okay. I can see some scenarios how that would go. Alright, well, on that note, that's gonna be it for today's video. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like if you did and subscribe for anyone who's ready. Also, thank you to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon. As always, you need to my Twitter, lots of things watching shows. Links below if you wanna check them out, as links to the server, the Discord, and everything else. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.
I sure had something on my history that I wanted to watch, but like... here's one.
Stories are a way for us to escape, to cast ourselves off to fantastical places, imaginary worlds we can immerse ourselves in. But how do you do that? What makes these places so vivid and magical, and how do you capture it? It's with detail, creativity, metaphors, or something more. That's why I've been studying 31 books from amazing authors across a ton of genres, even different languages, why their descriptions work, and what we can learn. Come explore with me. Let's go. and I've created a whole companion video discussing more about description as episode 4 of my ongoing Beyond Writing series, which you can get access to with the Curiosity Stream Nebula bundle linked below, as they've kindly sponsored this video. It's really great to be able to sponsor videos with my own content. Use my link down in the description. Part 1. The first mistake writers make. One of the easiest traps that people fall into is thinking good description is about trying to find the prettiest words to replicate what you have in your mind in the mind of the reader. The trap being that that's a lie, funded by big description. No, the trap being that it is partly that, but not only that. One, trying to perfectly replicate what you have in your mind is never going to work, even if they're close, and that's part of the beauty of writing, right? But hurling a list of nouns and adjectives at the reader doesn't necessarily help us immerse ourselves in the setting or remember it, and that's because I found that the best descriptions focus on experience over details.
Yo.
We slept in what had once been the gymnasium. The floor was of varnished wood with stripes and circles painted on it for the games that were formerly played there. The hoops for the basketball nets were still in place, though the nets were gone. A balcony ran around the room for the spectators, and I thought I could smell faintly, like an after-image, the pungent scent of sweat shot through with the sweet taint of chewing gum and perfume from the watching girls. Dances would have been held there. The music lingered, a palimpsest of unheard sound. There was old sex in the room, and loneliness, and expectation of something without a shape or name.
Atwood could have here just listed the varnished wood, stripes and hoops and balcony in a string of nouns and adjectives, and it would have been accurate, but the words and framing like had once been, formerly, an after-image, and lingering focus on how this setting feels lifeless, isolating, and empty compared to what it once was. In other words, the experience. The reality is that we don't tend to remember that many details about a place. We do, however, remember the general impressions and feelings we associate with things. So, I'm curious for your thoughts. What fictional place feels most vivid and real to you? Let me know down below. One really common piece of writing advice that rises out of this is to use the 5 senses. And it is true in part that we often rely too much on sight. Part of the reason Atwood's description here is so vivid is that it brings in elements of sound and smell. But I actually think that the more important element here is that Atwood very deliberately includes details of sight, smell, and sound that all feed into creating this isolating, lifeless world, because that is the feeling of liquor. It's a kind of subtext that a lot of people miss in reality. Now, sometimes this can be the experience of a specific character, especially in third limited or first person like Atwood has here. We see how Offred longs for a time in the past. But it's just as often the experience of the place more generally. I'm just imagining someone describing everything by taste now. They walk into a city and they're just, the walls, tastes like good old Egyptian alabaster.
Beartown isn't close to anything. Even on a map, the place looks unnatural, as if nature and man were fighting a tug-of-war for space, and the town is losing. It has been a very long time since it won at anything. More jobs disappear each year, and with them, the people, and the forest devours 1 or 2 more abandoned houses each season. Sometimes the entire community feels like a philosophical experiment. If a town falls in the forest, but no one hears it, does it matter at all?
Beartown is written in third-person omniscient, and this isn't channeling any specific character. Most of this language is quite evocative, a tug-of-war with nature and the town is losing. I just love that bit of description. Bachman could have detailed any number of things which are factually in the town, but he focuses on the experience of this place, and the specific details he does include here build into that feeling, rather than just being a list of things that are there. But, like when I talk about experience here, it can be something really, really simple, like a road feeling busy, a castle feeling empty, a house feeling old. It doesn't need to be deep or profound like these do. So, one, if you're writing in first person or third limited, then which details would your main character notice, emphasize, or minimize more than
he doesn't respond to anything else, but when you threaten him, he fucking defends himself.
2, what details or feelings themes does the place invoke?
He's
And 3,
got
do the
self-image
details you
issues.
mention feed into that impression?
Let's do something
Not
about
everything
that.
needs to, but whatever you include, keep in mind that so much of amazing description comes from Part 2, specificity.
The ninth vestibule is remarkable for the 3 great staircases it contains. Its walls are lined with marble statues, hundreds upon hundreds of them, tier upon tier rising into the distant heights. I climbed the western wall until I reached the statue of a woman carrying a beehive, 15 meters above the pavement. The woman is 2 or 3 times my own height, and the beehive is covered with marble. Bees the size of my thumb. One bee, this always gives me a slight sensation of queasiness, crawls over her left eye.
Specificity works on 2 levels. 1. Narrow in on details. Clark here gives some general descriptions of the walls and staircases, but she narrows in on a particularly memorable image. A woman carrying a beehive with a bee crawling over her eye. It's visceral and memorable because it sparks a sense of queasiness in us as well. Nobody wants a bug on their eye, even a cute little bumblebee. It's an experience through detail, not general statements. Specificity can also be used to subtextually indicate which features of a location are more important without saying, hey, you've got to remember this, it's gonna come back later. So, like, if Gray the Wizard Who Likes Cats comes across a creepy house, you might narrow in on how a painting of a dead Dutch woman seems to watch you. Not only because it's creepy, but because, maybe it opens up to a secret passageway later. I don't know. Details tend to be more memorable, even if it's as simple as a wonky table.
Nice.
So, my good friends, my old chaps, my illustrious lovers, my many-armed companions, compatriots of the modern day, do you have a favourite specific detail that you've read or written that has really stuck with you? I would love you to share it down below. Secondly, word choice.
A purple flowering vine had colonized the lighthouse wall and curled itself around the remains of the door on its left side.
The vine here hasn't just attached itself to the door, but colonized it, which has so many more connotations of it being possessive, invasive,
I'm on a
especially
comment.
in this book, Annihilation, if you've read it, it's about the blurred line between you and your environment. So you can use description to capture and reflect your themes as well. Also, unfortunately, someone seems to have stolen my copy of Annihilation, which is one of my favourite books ever, so you're stuck with Jeff Vandermeer's Dead Astronauts, which is one of the weirdest books I have ever read. And I've read House of Leaves. But look for whether you can use more specific nouns and verbs and adjectives that add more connotations and subtext to what you're describing. But
44
do be wary
bucks.
of exaggerating or dramatizing your descriptions. We've all read those
Oh, wow,
pieces
look at all
where
these.
someone just refuses to use the terms, red and blue, and instead insist on cerulean and vermilion. I mean, what do those add, really? Look at Piranesi. It's a visually stunning image, but to be honest, none of the verbs or nouns are especially that unique. Saying the beehive was enwrapped in marble doesn't really add depth or meaning over cover here, whereas colonized very much does compared to attached. And yeah, sometimes it's okay to just list off a quick few details to ground someone in the scene. Not every place is going to have an experience you need to really think about. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but that this is something you should keep in mind for description more broadly. You're laying out the mental landscape as much as the physical, where someone needs to keep their attention, what they need to remember, what's meaningful. Okay, so to talk about the experience, to use specificity, but in the first place, you kinda gotta know part 3, what to describe. There are typically 4 things that really matter. 1, setup and payoff. Establishing things in your setting that are gonna come back in the narrative later on, especially if the tension is reliant on knowledge of those things. Otherwise, it can kind of feel like... This doesn't need to be super specific. In A Song of Ice and Fire, we're told that King's Landing has a ton of secret passageways, but not where they are, and it's still fine when they're used to help Tyrion escape prison, because, we have enough knowledge that it pays off. Sometimes features are also implicit in the setting, like nobody is going to question tables being in a great hall when they turn up in a fight scene, even if you didn't mention them explicitly before. But the more coincidental that a feature might appear, the more you need to set that up in your description. You know, don't say, oh, they were in the library reading books when they get attacked, and he grabs the Cthulhu statue, smashes his opponent over the head, and summons the Eldritch Gods, when you never established the Cthulhu statue before. Two interesting features, especially those that contradict the reader's expectations of what a setting is gonna be like. Now, just because we find certain elements of our world or setting really interesting does not mean that the reader will. But think about, you know, the bee crawling over that woman's eye. That's an interesting
Hello, who the hell
image
are you?
regardless. 3. Whatever gives a sense of place. When describing King's Landing, Martin highlights the Great Sept of Baelor, the Dragon
Correct
Pit,
me
the
if I'm
port,
wrong, but I think
and
this
spends
guy's
a
the
lot
final
of
boss,
words
guys.
on the Red Keep. Now, none of these are particularly unique or important to our respective character, or very experiential to be
One more time.
honest, but they're important to understand the layout of the
Alright,
city
wait.
where a lot of this story is going to take place. But sometimes, again, people will just end up with a parade of random details, a string of nouns and adjectives that most people are gonna forget. This is actually something that I think Tolkien is rightly criticized for.
Bring me his head.
Yes, I know, criticizing Tolkien. I think I just angered the gods. I await whatever curse you lay down upon me in the comments. No, but really, he has beautiful poetic prose, but also a tendency to describe his places with a laundry list of details that most people end up skipping over or tend to forget. Let's look at how he describes
Fatal.
Minas Tirith.
That's his
He gives a good
name.
description at the start of how the gates...
You are late. A few thousand years too late, I'm afraid. I must admit you have been quite a little nuisance. Destroying one of my greatest critic generals, destroying my critic battleship, eradicating my entire critic army, and now you wish to defeat my children. You call them the Dark Abyss, but I call them my Draken Distinctus. They are named after me, Fatal Draken Distinctus. You stand before the most powerful force in the universe. I am what Lethal could have been, but he chose the path of life. Fool! Oh, you don't know what I am talking about, do you? I am the essence of Lethal Jaggard's spine. Okay, when Lethal was created, two forms were produced. Lethal became a half-demon in the mortal realm, and I became an essence in the spirit realm. However, I escaped that dreaded realm and tried to join forces with Lethal in the mortal realm. But he had seen the light and done away with his evil heritage. So I made a huge army with my demonic powers and destroyed Lethal and his world. Unfortunately, I did not know he had preserved himself somehow, and thanks to your stupidity, you resurrected him. But no matter what either of you try, this universe is mine, and I will let no one get in the way of my life's work. Trying to control all and every. I'm not afraid of you. Well, you should be. Should I really be? Oh my god, level 40? Am I actually capable of beating up this guy? I got potions. Okay, that was pathetic. I'm gonna cast barrier on myself actually. Let's see how lucky we get. Not that lucky. Oh hey, where did that sword come from? Oh, it's behind you this entire time, okay.
and layered walls are laid out, which is important for our sense of space, especially in the siege to come. But then there's a lot of details like exact measurements and whether things face north or east or west, and these odd details about the walls. I think, though, this line at the end actually captures Minas Tirith better as a setting, as a location, more than any of the stuff before it does.
Yet it was, in truth, falling year by year into decay, and already it lacked half the men that could have dwelt at ease there. Every street they passed some great house or court, over whose doors and arched gates were carved many fair letters of strange and ancient shapes, names Pippin guessed of great men, kindreds that had once dwelt there. Now, silent,
Okay.
and no footsteps rang on their wide pavements, nor voice was heard in their halls, nor any face looked out from door, empty window.
Not only
I
are
can
these
heal myself
great
easily
specific
enough.
details, but it gives us an
more
experience of
magic
Minas
that way.
Tirith that we will remember. A place falling into decay. Is this my hottest take? I feel like saying Tolkien describes too much shouldn't be controversial, and you know what? The day may come when my courage fails, and I forsake all bonds I have with this hot take. But it is not this day. This day, I await the comments. Now, I know I've spent a lot of this video railing against long lists of details, because they are memorable, uninteresting, and they often kill the pacing. All of that is true, but that doesn't mean that a list of details can't be useful. Look at that description we had before in The Handmaid's Tale or Bear Town. Both have a string of details, but again, they fit into that overall experience or inform the sense of space really well. A list of details can also be their own kind of specificity, rather than picking a specific single detail to highlight. The Handmaid's Tale is kind of that, they have a series of really tactile, physical, sensory details attached to specific smells and sounds. Even if no specific
should just
detail
keep using
stands
this
out
spell.
that much, it's still very specific. What you don't want is just a list of details that don't
Let
mean
me try
much.
this.
And I hope I've kind of given you an idea of what does mean a lot. But there is one
that was
last reason
effective.
you might describe something. You want to. It's your story. Maybe you put a lot of effort into the architecture of your world and you just want to talk about it for a while. I say go ahead. No story is going to work for everyone, and trying to cater our book to be perfectly accessible to every person who might read it is just going to stunt your own style a lot of the time. These were things that came to mind for me. But what else do you feel you might want to describe? But the funniest thing I learned when researching for this video is that really, most writers don't need to learn how to better describe, and you might be one of them. What they actually need to learn is part 4, how not to describe. Sometimes people think they're setting the scene when what they're really doing is describing things that don't matter. I was reading Choi Yun-yong's Sinchao Sinchao, and most of the story is set inside a house, but honestly, she barely describes it. We get a passing mention of a fire, a sweet sofa, and a bookshelf, none of which are really memorable, and that's because sometimes the setting doesn't matter that much, especially because people can imagine ordinary places pretty damn well, often even better than you could ever write them. Houses, parks, a busy road, even a castle or a satellite station. If your setting doesn't deviate from what most people imagine, or the sense of place or detail just isn't that important, then simply saying it was a house or a river or whatever might be enough. In contrast though, Yun-yong does describe the city that they're in, once at the start and once at the end. A small city called Plum, deserted buildings, empty parks, men sitting around
Crits never
streetcars,
match.
reeking of alcohol.
Dude,
And this
TA
is
just
why
decked him.
The city was much smaller than I remembered. It
Bruh.
had fallen into even deeper decline, to the point of looking eerily deserted. My old school had turned into a small factory.
What the fuck was this final? Oh my god! I can't win this game. Fatal is no more. The galaxy is reclaimed from the abyss, and it is all because of you. You are the greatest hero of all time. Well done. But this is not the end of Lethal RPG. More evils will come and you will be once again called forth to defend us all. Where one journey ends, another begins. Lethal RPG Empires. Why is Mashi not credited? We've now unlocked a new game mode. Lethal mode allows you to play through the story's Lethal Dragonstein. Cool. Well, the post game isn't worth exploring, honestly. The side quests are there to, if you everything is just for the sake of getting you stronger, and there's really no point in doing that. There's no extra content. I mean, I guess there is the tournament, but like, yeah, I'm gonna go try that. Oh, hello there, I have a notification. Oh, it's from Toho.
Two old men were smoking in the backyard, watching me absently. My old home still stood in the same spot facing the park. There's meant to be this thematic comparison between the person she was as a child and the person she is as an adult. And likewise with the city. Some things are the same, some things are different. The setting has a deeper role to play here, unlike with the house, warranting further exploration and description. Maybe you want to use the setting to invoke feeling, to explore character, to create tension, to explore themes. And sometimes people withhold information about extraordinary places for effect too.
The city lies at the intersection of these.
Oh hey, this opening description is actually different.
To the vastness beyond the visible stars. The city extends upwards and downwards in preposterous arches and chasm-spanning bridges.
This city is a vast, complicated, fascinating place that defies the laws of physics, and this is basically all we get. But it's intentional.
He's the namesake
these details alone
of
allow
the
us
entire
to
series,
imagine the majesty
and he's the best.
wonder of this place.
He's just a brooding edgelord who got everything taken away from him, and it's just so silly.
Beyond this, description is often proportional to the role a place might play in the story, and that means that a lot of the time you don't need to describe much at all. If the location is only around for a paragraph or two, if it doesn't feature a full scene, or the point of what happens there is, the psychology of the character or the prose, and the detail of the setting isn't that important. They don't interact with it. And this leads to a problem that I've seen a lot, and I know that I did when I was younger. Characters might stop at a river for a night, and the writer will take way too much time describing the river, even though it's really not that important to the narrative, all under the guise of setting.
This is very unrealistic. Lethal, there's no way Lethal would ever compliment anyone.
Your own personal style as well. But okay, let's be honest, alright? Describing halls of marble statues and
you designed that cloth yourself. You were asking for people to look.
Fascinating on their own. What about Part 5, Ordinary Places? The boring, the monotonous, the uninteresting, the suburban house,
and there's the sword we know and love. The stupid ass frickin' knockoff Cloud's sword.
Who describes an ordinary town here, but this uniquely specific detail of peppers drying in the sun makes it pop and contrasts the colours of red and green, juxtaposing them with blue and white on the terraces. I firmly believe that specificity can make just about anything interesting, because you're always looking into the lives of people, the inner workings of the world and nature around you. That's fascinating, even if the colour of the door or the shape of the roof isn't. Let's look at how Tove Ditlevsen describes cleaning some
we're actually the
dishes
same in terms of fashion skills, except for the last one with the knights thing. I thought magic's always gonna be the same.
Sad, greasy stew, which she appraised, disgusted for a moment, before she could bring herself to plunge her hands down into it and bring the porcelain out.
This isn't a setting, but the principle applies. This is something very ordinary. It's cleaning the dishes. There's not even a unique character perspective here either. And Ditlevsen could have just written, she cleaned the dishes in hot soapy water, then left them to dry on the rack beside the sink.
So what do we have for weapons?
Instead, Ditlevsen focuses on specific details that evoke a specific feeling. Disgust.
No upgrades,
Nobody
no
likes
nothing.
sticking their hands in grimy water with bits of food in it. Ugh. And describing it as a greasy stew, word choice, makes you gag.
Alright,
a whole other
Lethal is
experience
fine wearing what
I
he's
can't
wearing,
handle discussing
which is
things
fair
like
enough.
that, but the point
He's
is,
got
you know, the
standards.
lives of
So all that
people
matters
are
are the spells and
interesting.
elements.
Pillowbullets today,
Interesting.
supermarket is just
I'm
a
sure
great look
the
at how to
story
make
is a
mundane
bit
fascinating.
more
Like,
different and
literally, one
stuff.
of the lines on the back says, Pulitzer insists in one gorgeous sentence after another. There's
But
no
I'm not
such thing
interested
as
in
a
playing
usual
through this
hour,
entire game
let
again.
alone a usual day. I mean,
I'm gonna
the
go do
mundane
some
can
writing now,
still be
I guess.
empty,